Coronavirus is man-made. It will go away in April. Since the outbreak began, there has been a wave of misinformation prompting this open letter by scientists in The Lancet. Conspiracy theories do nothing but create fear, rumors, and prejudice that jeopardize our global collaboration in the fight against this virus. To separate fear from fact, I sat down with two infectious disease experts in Hong Kong. The coronavirus is man-made.
If you look at the virus itself, if you look at the phylogenetic tree, we find that basically the virus very nicely in between the best coronaviruses and the SARS coronaviruses. So we believe that this is actually a natural evolution of this novel coronaviruses.
So it didn't come from a lab in China. This wasn't by
fast delivery.
My pet can give me the virus because we know that a pet here in Hong Kong has tested positive for the new coronavirus. The pet has even been placed in quarantine.
It's very unlikely and more likely that the dog has been environmentally contaminated.
Even though if it's contaminated, you won't get a very high viral load. And it's very unlikely that you can actually be transmitted from the pets to you. It's very unlikely.
Now, this is a big one. Wearing a mask will not protect me from the virus because you have the U.S. Surgeon General telling people you don't need to buy a mask. It's not effective. Is it?
If you look at the data in Hong Kong, wearing masks is probably the most important thing in terms of infection control.
Wow.
It not only brings down the cases of coronaviruses, it also brings down the influenza. In fact, this is now the influenza season, and we hardly see any influenza cases. And that is because the masks actually protect not only against the coronaviruses, but also against the influenza viruses as well.
Let's bust a few additional myths that underplay the seriousness of the epidemic. And one that's out there is the coronavirus is less deadly than the flu. How do they compare?
If you look at the mortality rate so far, currently is stand at 3.4% because I think recently it's been pulled up by the Iranian mortality. But otherwise, if you look at the 1,000 cases being reported by Professor Zhong Nanshan in the New England Journal of Medicine, it basically the mortality rate is around 1.4%, or probably even going to go lower. Is the denominator getting bigger? So it still stands about 1%. For influenza, is 0.1% or even lower, depending on what seasons you are. So it's still 10 times more deadly compared to influenza.
But you're saying it's 10 times more deadly than seasonal flu, coronavirus.
Indeed, yes.
And more transmissible.
And more contagious.
But there's still a lot of people around the world who say the quarantines, the closures, the restrictions on travel, it's all an overreaction. Is it much ado about nothing to a certain degree?
If we don't prepare for this, we're going to get hit by something very bad. We hope for the best, but we plan for the worst. And, maybe like a hurricane, as it approaches shore, it will get weaker and it'll only end up being a category 1 or 2. That'd be wonderful. But we can't plan that way.
The virus